Hey guys, Thomas Joseph here. Now today we are talking miso, and you might think of miso and the only thing you know is miso soup, but there are so many different ways you can use miso. So I really encourage you to go out and buy it at your grocery store or your specialty market. You might see at your specialty store a few different varieties of miso. So before we get into how to use it, let's talk about the different varieties. Now in front of me I have 3 different varieties. The first is shiro miso, which I would say is probably the most widely available miso, and it's usually lighter in color. It's also called white miso, and the reason why it's lighter in color is because it isn't fermented as long as its cousin, which is the red miso here, or the aka miso. And a third variety that's out there in the marketplace is actually a blend of the two. This is called awase, and that is usually like approximately half and half shiro and aka miso mixed together. So this has not as much of a developed flavor as the red version, but it's a little bit more pronounced than the white version here. Now, what is miso? You might be like, hey, I never really understood what it is to begin with. Well, it starts out with the fermentation of a legume or a grain. Usually it's rice, but it could also be barley, and sometimes soybean is the starter. It's then mixed with a fermented starter, and then that's allowed to ferment for a few days, several days. And then you take that, you add soybeans to it, so ground up cooked soybeans, lots of salt, about 10 to 15% salt, and a batch of earlier miso. And what that does is it really ferments and develops flavor. And that second fermentation process is when we start to kind of distinguish between the different types of miso. So at that stage, anything fermented under 2 to 3 months is considered this shiro miso, which is lighter in color and also in flavor. And then anything beyond that and up to 3 years is this aka miso, which has a deeper, more robust, nuttier flavor to it. Now, if you're really interested in miso, I would encourage you to buy these 2 versions here and to try them out in different ways. You can even experiment in mixing them together to see if you get something that you like or prefer. Today I wanted to share with you a really simple miso butter that's really fantastic on fish, on salmon. So I have 1 stick of unsalted butter. Into this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of the shiro or white miso. So a little bit more of a subtle flavor here with this version. But this compound butter, or really flavorful butter, can be used, like I said, on fish, which I'm going to do today, but you can use it in so many different ways. You can melt this in with some pasta and fresh herbs and you would have something really delicious. Maybe throw some clams in there as well. That would be fantastic. Brushing this on eggplant would be really great. Chicken, chops, you'd get a really different, dynamic, nutty flavor that's really, really, really great. And the best part is you can keep this in a sealed container in your refrigerator and use it whenever you need it. Salad dressings are a fantastic place for miso. You can stir them into some rice dishes. That's really great as well. And of course, any soups or stews. Now, I have some salmon that I started off here, just crisping the skin of the salmon in a skillet with a little bit of olive oil, or you could use a neutral flavored oil, which would probably be better with the miso. And I'm just going to take some of this miso butter and brush it on the top here of my salmon. And then I'm going to take this whole pan and place it right under the broiler. And what's going to happen is the butter is going to melt. It's going to create a really moist and delicious salmon fillet, but the miso, with its salt and really rich flavor, and it also has developed a little bit of sugar through the fermentation process, is going to caramelize and give this a wonderful glistening glaze to it. That's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to pop this under the broiler and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. All right, so the salmon is out from under the broiler. It has a nice golden color to the top. The skin is nice and crisp on the bottom because we started it on the stove top. Just gonna put this on a plate here, you guys, because I want to give this a try. It smells so delicious. That sweet savoriness is really fantastic. A little bit of lemon juice here over the top, and there you have it. Now, if you want any more information on miso, or you want to find some recipes that use miso that's not miso soup, check out marthastewart.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to know what questions you have. Enjoy.